Good day everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar. We are going to look at the collaboration for Plant3D feature. I am Jolene, I'm an applications engineer with Modern OneSoft, and I will be your presenter for this webinar. We are going to start with existing options on the market. Then we're going to head into what is included in Autodesk BIM Collaborate Pro. Then we'll go to the software for the demonstration part, and we'll finish off with a Q&A session and a discussion. Here you will see a diagram of a typical setup and workflow for Vault and Plant3D. The setup requires a server that is running SQL and two databases. So Vault and Plant3D require their own database. Depending on your setup, you can have two servers, one server for the Plant database and one for the Vault database. And users will have a local workspace for working on their projects. The synchronizing and uploading and downloading speeds depend on the various factors, but with this setup it typically can be slow. The setup is designed for on-premise only. So there are cases where you have users that work remotely and they require VPN to connect to the on-premise service, and they will still have their local workspace. So the other scenario is companies that have a SQL server but do not use Vault, and they have users working remotely that need a VPN to connect to the server. Or they copy files locally and copy the files back to the server via the VPN. So for this workflow, there is no local workspace, and this means the transfer time for the data is slow and you might not be able to work. So if you have remote users, we do not recommend this workflow where you do not have a local workspace and where there are multiple users that need to work on the same project. In this diagram, we can see the workflow between Plant and Autodesk Construction Cloud. So when using these two platforms together, there is no need for a server that is on-premise or for the users to have a VPN. So there is also no need for Vault, but you can use the two solutions together. The projects are stored securely in the cloud, and you will still have a local workspace. The transfer times are much faster depending on network speed and the size of the file or project that you are working with. So there is also an added advantage of allowing greater access to information provided by Plant3D to all stakeholders internally and externally that are part of the project. So with the security that Autodesk Construction Cloud provides, the external stakeholders won't have access to your design data, and you can give them access to viewing, doing markups, sharing, and addressing issues without having to export your files, handing over your DWGs, making copies, and emailing this data around. So this is how data gets lost and outdated and how miscommunications happen. So Autodesk Construction Cloud addresses all these headaches as all your project data will be in one place. With Autodesk BIM Collaborate, you will have access to the following modules. So Autodesk Docs, as most know, is where you manage all your project files, be it documents or drawings. The Design Collaboration module enables you to visualize the project timeline, and you have live tracking of project actions and activities. So you can also manage data exchange between teams and disciplines using packages. This contains all the required information for the team to continue with their project tasks. Then we have Model Coordination, which provides you with a space to upload, review, and detect clashes between your latest set of 3D project models. You can do clash detection between the drawings of each discipline. With the Insights module, you have a visual of your collective project level data and analytics during the project lifecycle in a dashboard visualization. So then you have your project admin. This is where the project admin will manage project data and user access. This will usually be your project manager or your local project superintendent. So it is recommended to have multiple project admins to help manage the project data and user access. Then lastly, you have your account admin, which is the highest level of access and control on the platform. They can manage the organization's account members and create project templates, create account level content for the projects and project templates. And they can also manage basic account settings. So then with BIM Collaborate Pro, the only difference here between the two is that you have 3 additional features. So you'll see there we got Revit Cloud Work Sharing. So that helps you collaborate on Revit models in the cloud. You also have your Autodesk collaboration for Civil 3D, which allows project teams to collaborate on Civil 3D data, shortcut projects in Autodesk Docs. And then you have your Autodesk collaboration for AutoCAD Plant 3D, which allows project teams to collaborate on Plant 3D projects in Autodesk Construction Cloud. So the only difference between BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro will be these 3 additional features. Otherwise, both of these offerings include all the modules displayed on screen. Right, so we will start our demo. So to get to the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, you'll just search in your web browser constructionautodesk.com and you can log in here with your Autodesk login details. So it will take you to your home page on the Autodesk Construction Cloud and show you what projects you are invited to. So we'll start our setup by creating a new project. So I'll just name this Plant 3D Collaboration Demonstration. I'll assign it to an account and give it a project type. So I'm only filling in the mandatory fields for this project, and then I'll create my project. So it will take me to the project admin page where I can see the members. So at this stage there's only one member, which is myself, and I can go and activate the necessary products for this project. So that would be docs, design collaboration, model coordination, and then Insights is automatically on. Right, so now we'll go to our docs space so that we can set up our file and folders environment. So here in docs, we have our projects file, which is the head folder that's been created for this project by default, and I can go and create subfolders underneath this one. So I'm going to set up a default multidisciplinary structure. So we'll create an architectural folder. We'll create one for the mechanical team, and we'll create another one for structure. So we're not yet creating the plant folder. We'll first create the project within plant, and that folder will then be the head folder for the plant project. So here we are in the plant software, and I'm going to open an existing project that I would like to share to the cloud. So once I got my project open there, you can just open a blank drawing so that you can access the Collaborate tab. So if you go to the Collaborate tab there, you can select this Share Project option, and it's going to share the project that you have currently open to the cloud. So we'll follow these on-screen instructions. It will then ask you to what account do you want to share it to, and then to what project. So that will list all the projects within that account, and you just select the correct one. So I've sped up the time it takes to load it to the cloud, but this depends on your network and the size of the project you are loading. Right, so there we got our project loaded. I'm not going to invite my team yet, so I'm just going to close this, and we are going to go back to our web browser. So here under our plant project folder, you will see that this folder structure will be the same as the one created by plant in your folder, in your file explorer. So this folder structure is the same as the one on the cloud. So we can go and set some file access. So if we right click, so this is just what it would look like within that folder, same as on the file explorer. So we'll right click and go to permission settings, and we'll notice there all the members and what permissions they have. So we can add some members. So here you can add either the email address or the role or the person's name. So for now we are not going to add the members yet. I'm going to add my roles first. So what I did was I created some roles with a plant prefix, so it was easy to filter out, and then with each role within my plant team. So I'm going to add each of these roles. And I'm going to assign the basic level, permissions level for each of these roles to start off with. So you'll notice there are multiple roles to select from. So for now we're just going to assign view access to each. So now for the head folder, each role here has only viewing access. So what you'll do is you'll go through all the folders and assign each folder to this respective role. So if you have the PNID folder, you will assign the PNID folder to the PNID designer to have editing rights. Not full management right, but editing rights. So here for our head folder, we're going to assign full managing rights to our plant admin, and this will be inherited down to all of the subfolders within that project folder. Right, so we can go over to the 3D folders and assign editing rights to our piping designer, which will be our 3D modeler. And then you also assign all the 2D, the PNID folders to the PNID designer, and we'll assign the spec sheets folder to the spec admin. Right, so now we need to assign members to these roles. So you can either go to the docs, to your project page, go to members and assign a member. This will only be possible if that member is already added to your account. So if we go, that person's not there. So if we go to the account admin, go to members, and you'll be able to add and invite new people to your account. So when you add new members, you can put in the email address and assign them to the company they are associated with. So we're not going to do that now, as I already have my colleagues added to my account. So I'm going to go back to my projects page, and activate my project again. So I got my project open. I'll go back to members. The docs page, members, and I can add my colleagues. So you'll type in the person's name or the email address, select from the drop-down list, assign them to the company, give them a role. So I'm going to use my prefix for my plant team and assign a role to this member. Then by default, this member has been assigned as a project manager, and you can change it to be a project administrator. Apologies, a project member. So that project member option that's been selected there, they have access by default to the specific permissions that are assigned to that role. Right, so then I'll just give them access to design collaboration, model coordination, and then they automatically have access to docs and insight. So I'm just going to follow these steps again and add my other members. So there we have our members added. And I'm also just going to assign the last remaining role to myself. Alright, so here on the members page, we can see the role of each member and the access level within the project. So this will either display a project member or a project administrator. And if we go to the files page, we can select one of the folders and see the permission levels for that folder. So you'll notice here we got our plant admin who has full managing access to that folder, and we have a member assigned to that role. So if you use the drop down, you can see who's been assigned to that role. You can also have multiple users assigned to a role. Right, so here I asked my colleague to sign into his Autodesk Construction Cloud. So on his home page, you can see his dashboard and the projects he has been invited to. So he's going to open the plant collaboration project, and it automatically opens within Docs. And you'll notice here that he can only see the plant collaboration folder. He can't see the architecture, mechanical or structures folder, as his role hasn't been assigned viewing or any editing access level to those folders. Right, so he can see those folders and the files within them. You can also see that he has gotten an email notification that tells him he has been invited by the project manager to a new project, and he can use that link in that email to go and open the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So you might need to sign in with your Autodesk login details, and it will take you to the same page to that project. Alright, so there you can see what project he is a part of, and he can see what modules he has access to. So you'll see there he has access to Docs, Design Collaboration, the Model Coordination and Insights, but he does not have access to Project Admin or Account Admin. Right, so the project admin has the ability to make this member a project admin, and only the account admin has the ability to make this member an account admin or a project admin. Okay, so we're back here in our plant software, and if I select this option here to open a collaboration project, it will give me a page here to open from the cloud. So you can go and select the account, and then you can go to the list of projects. So there we got our collaboration project, and I can open the project from the cloud. So this will work on the same principle as Vault, if you are familiar with it. So it works on the same check-in, check-out basis. So there are many different ways to check out. So there, if I hover over it, it says it's ready for checkout. This file, if you've added new files on your local workspace to the project, it will show a plus sign there and says that this file needs to be checked in to the cloud. So you can just right click on the file and say check in on that one, and it will check the file into the cloud. So it takes a few moments, and there it only displays that gray circle around it, showing that it's in the cloud and it hasn't been checked out by anybody. So for this piping file, I'm just going to create a subfolder within my project. So I'm going to create a piping folder, and there it's adding this folder to the cloud, and I can move my piping file to that folder. So this will automatically update within the cloud space as well. Right, so there we got our other files, and we can go ahead and check out some of them. So if I right click on my PNID file, I can select checkout. So now it just means that nobody else in the project will be able to check out this file to do any edits or viewing or anything like that. Another way to check out a file is to open the file. So there I got my PNID folder, PNID file open there, and it's been locked to any other project members to check out the same file. Right, so now I got other files checked out as well. So on the Collaborate tab, you can go and select the Options command there, and it brings up this dialog box where you can set your checkout and check-in options. So there's a check for any updates. So if you have any members working on the same project at the same time, and there's any updates happening on any drawings within the project, you can go check for updates. And you can set the intervals for auto updates as well. Here's the check-in options. So you can say for checkout drawings when you open the drawing, or you can set it to manual. So it's always good to set it to that auto option, especially if you forget to check out the file. So once you double click or open the file, it will automatically check it out. And then the check-in options, you can set to either when you close the drawing or when you save it. So I prefer using the save option because there are settings within the software itself that once you close the drawing and it's not yet been saved, it will prompt you, do you want to save it? And when you save it, it will automatically check the drawing back into the cloud. But you can also set it to be when you close the drawing without saving it. Right, so once I hit save there, it's going to say that it's checking the file back into the cloud. and that tick mark next to my file will go away, meaning it's accessible for other users to use it. And then on my equipment drawing, I'm closing it without checking back in, and it asks me to save. So once I hit save, it automatically checks it back in. So the two options will be right click, check out, or you can double click. Double click on the drawing and it will check it out and open it. Right, so let's review the demo. So the first thing on this list is installing the desktop connector. So I did not do this in the demonstration, but you will just open your web browser, type in install desktop connector, and install that software from the Autodesk website. Then you'll do your project setup. So then for creating a space to upload your plant project, so you'll go into Collaborate, create your folders that you need, then go to Plant, create your project, and upload your project to Collaborate. Then you'll set up the permissions for the various files and folders. You will invite your members. So for assigning roles, you'll first go set up your roles. You can use this prefix that I did, placing plant in front of every role, or you can use a shorter prefix that's easier to filter out, and you can assign your members to each of these roles. So that will be it for the webinar. We will now go into the discussion and Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop that in the Q&A section. If you guys have any comments or thoughts you'd like to share, please drop that in the chat section. If there are no further questions, I would like to conclude this webinar. Here on screen you'll find our contact information. So if there's any additional information that you require or any questions that you might have, please feel free to contact us, and we are looking forward to hearing from you.